Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to go through some fixed asset setup. The first thing we'll have a look at is the fixed asset classes. So I'll come to search for fixed asset classes. So we've got these three that are already in the Kronos demo. So we've got financial, intangible, and tangible. Okay, so three different types of class. These aren't really required, but I'll show you where they come useful shortly. We've then got fixed asset subclasses. And here, this is where we're going to break down our assets into categories. And then you can see that these are then linked through to the fixed asset class codes we just looked at. So I've got equipment, which is tangible. I've got goodwill, which is intangible. Plant, property, and vehicles, which are again all tangible. Okay. We then link each of those FA subclasses to a default FA posting group. I'll have a look at that in a second. The first one, I'll have a look at where we would use these FA classes and subclasses. So coming back up to search, I'm going to look for book value report. And these are the fixed asset book value reports that you get at the box of Business Central. In here, we will select the depreciation book that we want to use. We'll then put in a start and end date for the report itself. Okay. And then we've got the ability here to group the totals. So if I drop down to there, we can now group this by fixed asset class or subclass, which is what we just looked at. Okay. We can also group by location, main asset, dimensions, all the posting groups. Okay. But this is why we need to set up these classes and subclasses so that we can use them to group our reports together. So we'll just pop out of that. And now we're going to actually have a look at the fixed asset posting setup. So if I go back to the FA subclasses, as I mentioned, we've got a default FA posting group for each subclass. And if I look for FA posting group, this is the matrix of all of the GL accounts that we need in order to transact with our assets. So I'm just going to expand that out so we can see all of them. So if we take the top line, we've got equipment. And what we're going to do is then map where the acquisition cost for equipment sits. We're then going to map where the accumulated depreciation is going to sit, cost, acquisition on disposal, and accumulated depreciation account on disposal. So these are all of our balance sheet numbers. So when we're acquiring or disposing, that's where these transactions are going to hit. So when we are acquiring a fixed asset through purchase, for example, when we select the asset, it's going to know where to post that cost based on the FA posting setup of the FA subclass, which is linked to that asset. Okay. So if we go and have a look at the fixed asset list. So if you have a look at this vehicle is a tangible asset and it's in the vehicles FA subclass code. So Business Central will use that FA subclass code to pick up the FA posting group, and then it will know where to post cost and depreciation. Okay. Coming over to some of the other columns we've got here. So we've got the gains and losses accounts and disposal. So again, they could be the same as I've got set up here, but you could split that if you wanted to. We then got the maintenance expense account, which we'll come on to in later training, and then probably most importantly at the end, we've got the depreciation expense account. So this is the income statement account that the depreciation will get posted to. The only other thing I want to highlight in terms of setup is if we actually go to the depreciation book, you will need a depreciation book in order to transact your fixed assets. In Kronos, we've got one called company. And the two main things to draw your attention to here are the fiscal year 365 days. So as standard, Business Central will calculate depreciation based on a 360-day year so that you get 30 days per month and every month depreciation is the same. Depreciation is always calculated in days. What we can do is if we turn this on, it will flip to a 365-day year. So it will then fluctuate based on the number of months that we've got in the period. Other more important part is to have a look at is this integration. So this is saying whether or not this depreciation book company is integrated or not with the general ledger. Okay. So if we turn all of these off, then when we process fixed asset transactions, it will create fixed asset ledger entries, but it won't create any GL entries. Okay. So you then potentially got a reconciliation problem if this is the asset book that you're using for your accounting, but we can have multiple depreciation books. So we could have a second depreciation book which isn't integrated with the GL. So that was sort of the basic fixed asset setup I wanted to run through today. So if you found that helpful, please give the video a like. Consider subscribing to the channel for more practical Business Central tutorials. Got any questions or topics you'd like me to cover next? Drop them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and always have a great day.